The laughter started as a cruel chuckle, sharp and dismissive. In the corner of the smoky bar sat a man with faded eyes and a bent posture, his arm resting heavily on the table. On that arm, etched into weathered skin, was a tattoo. To most, it looked ordinary, just black ink faded by time. But when one young Marine pointed it out and scoffed, "It's just a tattoo," the room tilted, because 3 minutes later, silence would fall, and every Marine in the place would be standing in respect. Before I tell you what happened next, tell me in the comments where you're watching from. I love knowing who's listening. The old man didn't flinch at their laughter. He'd heard worse before, in jungles that swallowed men whole, in deserts where silence meant death. Yet, something in him stung, not because of the insult, but because these young Marines didn't yet understand what they were looking at. His fingers traced the ink, the faint numbers, the jagged lines woven into an emblem only a handful of men alive could still carry. It wasn't decoration. It was a code. The Marines leaned closer, smirking, whispering about how outdated it looked. But one Marine, Sergeant Stripes fresh on his sleeve, froze mid-laugh. His eyes narrowed, his lips parting in disbelief. He recognized it. The bar seemed to shrink around them. Glasses clinked, chatter dulled, and the sergeant's voice came low, almost reverent. "Sir, is that Reaper's code?" The older man lifted his gaze, and for a heartbeat, the years peeled away. His voice, steady but cracked with memory, carried across the room. "Once, a long time ago." Whispers rippled like wind through dry grass. Every Marine knew the legend, an elite unit, small in number, feared by enemies and honored by allies. Men who never left one of their own behind, even if it meant marching through fire. The tattoo wasn't art. It was the code that marked them: brotherhood, sacrifice, unspoken vows carved into flesh. The young Marines who'd laughed moments before now shifted uncomfortably in their seats. Shame weighed on their shoulders. One of them swallowed hard, suddenly aware that the frail figure before them wasn't just some veteran with a faded story. He was the story. And yet, a question hung heavy in the air. How could someone once so revered now sit alone, forgotten, enduring mockery from those meant to carry his torch? The moral weight of it pressed down on everyone. Then, it happened. Without a word, the sergeant rose, heels striking hard against the floor. He snapped to attention, hand flying in salute, eyes locked on the old man. The room stilled. One by one, chairs scraped back, boots hit the ground, and every Marine in the bar followed. A tide of uniforms, standing tall, their voices silent, but their respect deafening. The old man's eyes glistened. For years, he'd wondered if the world still remembered. Now, in that crowded bar, with hands trembling and heart heavy, he realized it did, because courage doesn't vanish. It lingers etched in ink and blood, waiting for the moment to be seen again. And as the tattoo caught the dim light once more, it wasn't just ink on skin. It was a reminder that every generation owes something to the one before, that laughter can turn to reverence in the span of 3 minutes, and that no soldier's story is ever truly forgotten. Because kindness doesn't vanish, it waits, and it finds its way back. And somewhere in that small bar thick with silence, the laughter that began in mockery ended in honor. If this story touched you, share your thoughts below. I read every single one. And if you want more stories like this, filled with courage, respect, and the echoes of the past, make sure to subscribe. Our stories aren't just told, they're remembered.